Comparing job design approaches. The cultural challenge is reactive approaches to process management and improvement. With traditional approaches, the majority of personal time is spent working alone and fighting fires. Limited time is budgeted for project development and learning. Process improvement and project time investments are often waste-laden as well. High-performance approaches include the majority of the time being spent working in teams and on projects. Personal time is spent in a process-focused manner. Job designs are regularly reviewed and adjusted. Realignment occurs. Many process owners give little thought as to how they spend their time at work each day. Since they are busy, they assume they must be productive as well. Some people even take pride in the fact that they are good firefighters. If you want to pursue process excellence, however, and make progress towards that goal, you must transition towards spending a higher percentage of your time at work differently. To accomplish this goal, you must become keenly aware of where you currently make your own non-value-added time investments. You also have to become more proactive in defining how process owner time should be spent across the organization and engaging the degree to which people are meeting those expectations. In general, traditional organizations make two key time usage mistakes. First, they spend too much of their limited time in a non-value-added, in other words, wasteful, manner. Second, they don't use this time as effectively as they could when they do make investments in a value-added area. For example, people waste a lot of time in meetings reading information to each other that should have been read ahead of time. This is a non-value-added investment. When a project manager fails to properly plan out their project and has to go back and do work over, they're spending time in a value-added area, project development, but they aren't using this time as effectively as they could because they have not refined their project development skills. It is not enough to simply define where process owners should be spending their time. This is a necessary first step, but it only addresses the expenditure of non-value-added time part of the problem. You also have to work to improve the manner in which you invest time in value-added areas, such as training, project development, and working in teams. Most importantly, you must have good indicators to let you know if you're moving away from spending time as a firefighter. Are you really fixing your problems so they don't come back? Are your changes making a difference? Can you prove it? Are you value-added? Here's a definition of value-added: an operation that transforms, converts, or changes a product or service towards that which is delivered to a customer. A definition of non-value-added might be those operations or activities that take time and resources, but do not add to the value of the product or service which is delivered to the customer. Here's 3 value-added assessment criteria. The customer recognizes the added value. Something changes physically. Something is done right the first time. When Hammer and Champy wrote their book Reengineering, they estimated that only 5% of work operations and activities were value-added. The remainder were non-value-added, 95% of the total. How can you tell if a task is value-added, non-value-added, or not? In short, any work that is done wrong or involves correcting mistakes can be considered non-value-added. Additionally, if you are performing tasks that your customers somehow don't benefit from, some value is being lost as your time and money investments are not being fully utilized. The high-performing organizations know this, and for this reason, they consistently strive to both measure customer satisfaction and dissatisfaction on a regular basis. They also try to maintain a high-priority focus on only doing those things that are key to their customers. In today's work environment, one could argue that each second you spend on the job should be viewed from the value-added, non-value-added perspective. While such an approach might seem excessive to many, it nonetheless represents a mindset that might be worthwhile for you to adopt and help transfer to your team. No one ever seems to have enough time. So if we want to provide even more value to our customers, we have to find ways to reduce existing waste streams, and the use of time on a daily basis is a waste stream. Many of the tasks you perform are a mixture of both value-added and non-value-added work. For example, meetings, training, and relationship building are all intended to be 100% value-added. In reality, however, a significant percentage of each of these events could be classified as non-value-added, especially from the external customer's perspective. We rarely measure such percentages, however, but if we did, the results might be shocking. Similarly, tasks such as reading email and texts, collecting data, creating performance charts, and preparing reports are all intended to be value-added. If time is wasted doing unnecessary work or providing information that is not used, however, the end result, once again, is non-value-added work. The question you need to keep asking is simple. If we stop doing this, would our internal or external customers notice, let alone care? 3 sources of improvement time. Number 1, convert non-value-added time investments into time for improvement. Key waste areas include meetings, email processing, and text processing. Source 2, involve more people in the process improvement effort. Leverage point is building time for improvement into a higher percentage of jobs. Source 3, use your existing process improvement investments more effectively. Key waste areas in most organizations' process improvement processes include project development, team project definition, and root cause analysis. Don't involve more people unless you address existing process waste. Convert non-value-added time investments into time for improvement. This has been the primary theme of this section. My reason for this emphasis is simple. No one is going to give us any more time of any significance, and we are wasting a lot of time with our current management processes. Also, examples of successful implementation are needed to help sell our process-based improvement strategies to others. So why not start on processes where the investment required for change is low, the potential payback is high, and the leaders are the ones doing the project? Involve more people in the process improvement effort. The biggest mistake I've seen people make is when they choose to pursue process excellence and all they do is form a lot of problem-solving teams. They don't make sure they've got an equivalent number of skilled team leaders in place first. And so what you end up happening is company might form over 10 teams even though they only have 2 or 3 or 4 truly prepared team leaders. And so either they're going to have some faltering teams, or these prepared team leaders are going to be overburdened with too many teams to manage. Another big error happens when a campaign is held to collect lots of ideas from the general workforce, but no mechanism is in place to process those ideas in a reasonable amount of time. I often tell people that I can come into any organization, leave 2 hours later, and I've given them 5 years of work for someone to do. Generating the ideas is the easy part. Brainstorming is the easy part if it's facilitated well. Effectively prioritizing the list of potential improvements and finding and implementing the really good ones, that's what takes great work systems that engage lots of people. Finally, we need to use our existing process improvement time investments more effectively. Rarely have I seen people evaluate the degree to which they use a given problem-solving tool or the process as a whole effectively. When I helped design what is now ASQ's International Team Excellence Award criteria over 30 years ago, this was our goal. Problem-solving teams were slow to adopt the use of those criteria for that purpose, however. Such process evaluation is helpful, however, as there is waste associated with the manner in which brainstorming, data collection and analysis, root cause analysis, and corrective action development takes place in teams. How effective are your teams at using the different problem-solving tools? Finding time to increase personal value. Reduction in non-value-added time creates time for learning, projects, and other value-added activities. I first started using this graph with my supervisors back in the early 1990s. This was before the internet, email, text, and smartphones made their way so deeply into our work lives. Plus, meetings were a little less common, let alone time-consuming, 30 years ago in the work world. As with organizations, this visual was meant to show people how a little extra time would most likely be needed as the personal time shifts occurred. I think that today it's even easier. How much effort does it take to cut the average length of a meeting in half and force people to make their issues fit the allotted time? It is interesting to think about how much non-value added time might be in the given person's job at work if we use the customer-based definition. In other words, how much of your daily work could you stop doing and not have one of your internal or external customers notice? In most cases, most people are trying to meet the needs of their boss, an internal customer that they see as their primary customer. One can only wonder how closely aligned the needs of the boss are with the needs of those external customers the company provides goods or services for. We have let the processes we use to support our value streams get out of control. We did not do this intentionally, but we did turn somewhat of a blind eye as technology crept its way into our support process worlds. It's for this reason that people try to process hundreds of texts and emails a day, while also spending 3, 4, or more hours a day in meetings. We've lost our focus as to what the intent of these tools, email, text, and meetings, are when it comes to meeting the requirements of those people that give us money for doing work for them, our customers. As the chart on the facing page shows, taking non-value added time out of your job is not an all or nothing effort. In most cases, a percentage of the task will stay, but by doing things smarter, the average time per task type should decrease.